What's the difference between isolating and getting some time alone, to recharge? For some of us, it's hard to tell the difference because some of us, whether it's because we have chronic health issues or are just introverts or are on the autistic spectrum, need some time to recharge. I have a really hard time, like for me the line gets really blurred, and I sometimes have a bit of an issue with going to either extreme on it. Like the line between reason and excuse can be really hard to see. Sometimes I don't know that what's best for me is actually to reach out a bit and to talk to a friend, to spend some time with a friend, somebody that I have, stuff in common with. So therefore it's not going to exhaust me because, he or she understands what I'm going through and I understand them, at least relatively. So someone else who's also an Aspie or someone else who has Ehlers-Danlos or another similarly challenging kind of chronic health condition, chronic illness, that kind of person. And I have friends like that. But today I was really frustrated and kind of internalizing some things and came across something that frustrated me and made me feel, just didn't make me feel good, made me feel sad and angsty. And I thought that I just didn't want to be around people and I wanted to be alone. My friend came over and we chatted for a bit and hung out and talked about some stuff and talked about some creative ideas for my project and her project. And it energized me. It didn't drain me. We didn't spend tons and tons of time, like long, hours on end. We were, I guess, visiting for a couple hours, though, maybe an hour and a half. But it's like sometimes we get into the isolator mode where we think that's what we need. And we make all kinds of excuses, especially if we're on the autistic spectrum or we're chronically ill. We're like, oh, I'm too tired, I'm too sick, I can't socialize, I don't have the spoons, I don't have the forks. Forks meaning social energy. And sometimes we really don't. Like if we've done the socializing, if we've gone out there and been, talked with people throughout the day, then yes, definitely a shutdown and a quiet time is more than warranted, even for the whole day afterwards. But I just find that I think I need that more often than I really do. And sometimes what I need is to reach out and connect. And I feel better when I do, in a smaller dose, not in a huge dose. If it's in a huge dose, I might enjoy it if it was in a setting that I like and have something in common with. If it was among friends that I have something in common with, but I might still be very tired afterwards. But even just like a short chat though, like, or even just if you are too tired to talk, verbally, then sometimes dropping into a Facebook support group. I tend to isolate myself from those too. And because it can get overwhelming, but we need little bits of it. And we don't always recognize when we're struggling with fatigue or being socially overwhelmed or being mentally overloaded or overwhelmed. We don't realize when we might need to step out of the isolating bubble and reach out for a little while, for a little bit, in the right context that's comfortable for us, and how much that can help. So again, it's all about balance. Balance is only something that I'm only recently having to learn now, being this sick and challenged, and also with my autism. Like I never knew the balance. I was all on adrenaline. I had to socially perform and I was good at it and it was expected of me. And to some degree, I enjoyed it, but only to a certain degree. And after that, I was forcing myself and working hard for it, too hard. And that kind of put me off. And I became later an isolator, much more so. I always was a little bit of an isolator. Like I would either be out there performing and like partying, and this is when I would drink, which I can't drink anymore today. I do not and cannot drink. That was my crutch, and it dumbed me down. It slowed my brain down, so it made it less overwhelming at a price. It was only when I like really tried to stop medicating and that's when I realized, and then I became very, like, even more of an isolator. I would always sort of swing between being, like, hypersocial and partying or, like, shutting down and being totally private. And then when I was too tired to even do the former, I became pretty reclusive, and then I developed a social life exclusively online only. And people had no idea how antisocial I was in real life, because I seemed, more social online, like doing my videos and stuff, but I really didn't connect a lot with people for a long time. I've never been one to be all that social, like having a lot of coffees with people and a lot of outings. When I was a lot younger, I used to do that with my besties. As I got into adulthood, I would only be social in the context of like a party scene with alcohol there, or like at my work. I worked like fashion retail and things like that. And when I had like a reason and a topic to be social about, I was a lot better at it. It would be really hard for me to just be casually social, and to arrange and follow up with someone saying, oh, let's go for coffee and stuff. It was never easy for me, but it really was nearly impossible when I got sick and wasn't drinking and knew that I'm on the spectrum, and then became mostly an isolator. And I did go to meetings, like 12-step meetings and stuff like that, and I really struggled with even getting there. It was a real struggle for me. Sometimes I just go and listen and sit there and like leave before having to be like chatty or social after, because I found that the stuff that I was dealing with inside, I felt like wasn't quite in common with others who were not on the spectrum. I felt like the general 12-step principles were helpful for me when I took them and worked them in my own way, but I felt like I didn't relate with others. Not always. Sometimes I did resonate with a few people that I felt like were also, secret nerds and secret geeks that had drank over it, and, but anyway, now I'm getting into some stuff that's too personal. Isolating. It's, check yourself. Even if you don't physically have the energy to connect, well, go pop into a Facebook group and just say something like, hey, I'm not having a very good day, I'm tired. Or ask a question, I'm curious, what do you guys think about such and such, foods or whatever. Like if it's information based, it might be a way in. Sometimes I don't know what the hell to say. I'm too like aspy brain, and it's like I can't be spontaneous, and I'm like, because my brain gets locked in this like OCD mode, and I need to have like a reason to say something. I don't know how to describe that, but just like at the very least, or even better, pick up the phone or go pop into a private message and say hi to a close friend. And if you are tired and low forks, then just time yourself, have a 10, 15, 20-minute chat, and then say, I'm going to go back to rest. Like just a little bit, a small dose. Sometimes if you can achieve that balance and realize that you don't have to keep going, but you can have a small dose instead of totally isolating, That is something I tell myself when I'm really low forks, which means low social energy and low physical energy and low mental energy, but at the same time I'm down and I'm kind of feeling depressed. I'm feeling lonely, and I feel like it does have a positive effect to talk to connect with somebody who means something to you and you mean something to them. It does have a positive effect. Even if you are an introvert, I don't know, like more of an introvert, and it has more of a positive effect than you think, and you don't realize it till you do it. But then it's okay to say, like, someone who loves you unconditionally will be okay with you saying, I can only, like, be okay with you saying, I just wanted to say hi for like 15, 20 minutes. I'm tired, I'm going to go back to rest. Like, if someone gets offended because you say that, then they're not your friend. They don't get it. So, but even just that initial connecting is just sometimes better than completely walling up and isolating. So that's the difference between being low forks and, recharging and, taking some downtime, and then after a while of all that silence, coming back. Because you do, like, if what happens is you pull away, you shut down, and then you you go from shut down to isolation when it keeps on going, and you don't realize where it crosses the line. And at that point, I try to catch myself, but it's very hard to recognize. And I go, okay, I need to check in or something with someone. I mean, maybe I'm not. I am somewhat, even though I'm on the autistic spectrum, and so I can't handle like too much social at once. I can't handle, especially because of my health, I can't handle it. I still need to connect after a while, or I can feel totally over isolated, kind of thing. And maybe some other people are different, but in some way, in the way that's easiest for you, you would be surprised at how good it feels to just reach out. That's all I'm saying. I think the best way to tell is if you're starting to feel depressed. If you've been if you've been on your shutdown and it feels good, then that's good. That's healthy. It's important. It's, the shutdown is needed. But if you start to feel like dysthymic and blah and depressed, you might need to reach out, even just briefly, and then go back into recharge mode or whatever. So just some thoughts on that. I'm in a better mood than I was earlier, and I didn't think that I wanted or needed to see anyone. And I don't need to see anyone right now, but it was nice to visit with my friend for 90 minutes. It was cool.